You are Locked On Dodgers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Nice win right there. Nice series win. I'm Pete Fox. This is the Locked On Dodgers Postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. A place to hang out when every game is done. We come on right after and break it down for you. You can also listen wherever you find your podcasts on the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. I have been covering sports in LA dating back to 2007 on the radio with ESPN LA and NBC Sports Radio. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Dodgers Postcast is brought to you Supply. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Well, it is game time. It is also winning time for the Dodgers. A series win, 6-3 today. Bobby Miller, again, looked pretty good. So I think maybe he's found it a little bit. He's definitely been much better at home with a 2.65 ERA, and his strikeout to walk ratio is way lopsided at the Ravine as compared to on the road, 26-4. This was early in the game, so it does not include today's performance. 26 strikeouts to 4 walks at home versus a lopsided number, 13 strikeouts to 15 walks on the road. He started the game solid, 6 up and 6 down. He only threw 86 pitches and surrendered just 2 hits. Unfortunately, one of those 2 hits was a 3-run home run, which would account for all of the Baltimore Orioles runs. They finished today with just 4 hits, while the Dodgers out hit them by 10, 14-4. The final tally there in the hit column for the Dodgers. They really had a nice night at the plate. I had the Diamond Dogs list finished pretty early, but then we got to number 1 because rather quickly, and then we had to add on with a 1A and 1B and 1C because there was a lot of meaningful hits a little bit later in the game as the Dodgers posted 4 in the 4th. Thanks in large part to Austin Barnes. How about Austin Barnes today? A pair of hits and a stolen base. Although Joe was spouting a stat that the double that Austin Barnes hit was a 4-foot double. I'm like, really? I mean, I guess because it hit the ground and then bounced over the third baseman's head. I don't know. You know, that's like in golf, not including the run out. It's like, oh, this drive was 312 yards because that's where it bounced. Well, it also rolled out another 20 yards. So I don't know that I would look at that hit from Austin Barnes and say that was a 4-foot hit. But okay, I guess technically speaking, yes. The super ironic part of tonight's win for the Dodgers, everybody in the lineup got a hit except Shohei Ohtani, who was 0 for 5, hit one to the warning track in his last at bat, but didn't have enough of it, just missed it. There were some nice reactions in the front row behind home plate of people like, standing up, pointing, gesticulating as they thought that was going to be a home run. Because pretty much every time Shohei makes contact with that big swing, you think that it's going to be a home run, but he was the only offer on the day. That's okay though. Don't worry. I'm not going to criticize or be frustrated or come down on Shohei for an offer because he's been really good in this series and really good of late. So there's nothing to be upset about with Shohei Ohtani at all. He is locked in, and it is fun to watch. And as I've said, I'm glad he's playing for the Dodgers, and let's just hope he keeps it going the way Chris Taylor did today. 2 for 3. Chris Taylor, the first RBIs of the game. So that's nice to see as well. His batting average still 30 points below 200, but these were his first hits since coming off of the IL and his first 2-hit games since June. He did miss a whole month. So, there's still time for him to get back in line, get back in shape, get locked in as they head towards the postseason. 29 games left here in the regular season. Yesterday, the stat was 30 games in 33 days. So not a lot of time off. They are packing up their bags as we speak, heading towards Phoenix, Arizona for a 4-game Labor Day weekend set against the Arizona Diamondbacks, who lost today. Everybody in the West lost. So a nice win for the Dodgers. Padres currently 3.5 back of the Dodgers. 5 back. Diamondbacks 4 back. Padres have lost back-to-back games. Diamondbacks lost today. They've won 7 of their last 10. Padres are 500 over their last 10. Dodgers 8-2 over their last 10. So they definitely have it rolling. This was a big series win against a very good team in the Baltimore Orioles. Even though they're young, they have a bunch of guys who are very capable of hitting the ball out of the yard. Their starting pitching is pretty good. I don't want to say it's great. BC put up a stat before we even got started here with regard to their Baltimore's pitchers all have 5 or 6 ERAs. The bullpen for the Orioles is good. So the fact that the Dodgers were able to scratch out one insurance run today to make this 6-3 win rather comfortable was nice to see. I didn't love that Kopech wasn't in there, but it was a 3-run lead, and Evan Phillips has found the stuff again. He's been pretty dominant. He's only given up 1 run this month of August, so didn't necessarily have a major problem with it, and Kopech can't pitch every day. A 3-run lead is fairly comfortable, so I'll give them a pass on not running Kopech out there. I just hope that when we get into the postseason and we have tight games, which we're going to have, that they don't start this. Well, we need to give him some rest. How did that rest work out for Daniel Hudson? He didn't pitch in the last 10 days, not on the IL, just not pitching, resting. Old man with his feet up. Yeah, I got in there today. 2 quick outs on 2 pitches. Then he loaded the bases with a HBP and 2 walks. Got the yank right after that. Thankfully, Trinan came in with a huge K. He was fired up about that. Came back in for the 8th. Got the side there, no problem. So 4 up and 4 down for Trinan. Other than the Daniel Hudson performance, the bullpen really good today, as they have been throughout this series. Banda zeros in 16 of 17 games. That's the kind of dominance that confidence that you feel comfortable with. Oral Hershiser made the comment that his heart rate goes down when Banda comes into the game. Yeah, I would agree with that. I feel like Banda has been dominant. Vesey has been dominant. Nice to have lefties that are dominant, because that's a good spot to be. It just makes you feel good. Obviously, lefties out of the bullpen are tough to hit, but Blake Trinan also tough to hit. 15 pitches tonight. I don't know what's up with Daniel Hudson. He just doesn't seem to have it in spite of the big long rest. So I don't know if he'll be around for the postseason. I'm sure they'll keep running with him here through the end of the regular season, but Evan Phillips came in to earn the save. 2 strikeouts, the rest zeros, 1 inning, 15 pitches. So the bullpen took care of business, and the bottom of the lineup took care of business as well. Again, everybody in the lineup got a hit tonight except Shohei Ohtani. We'll get to what the bottom of the lineup did after the break, and we'll also do the Diamond Dogs list. It's the Locked On Dodgers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. You can also listen on the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. I also have some injury updates for you. I got the latest on Glasnow, Flaherty, and Gratterall. Yeah, we might see Gratterall again before the season is over. We'll take the break and come back and get into the bottom of the lineup and their success tonight at the Ravine as the Dodgers win 6-3 and take this series from the Baltimore Orioles. They improve to 80-54, 45-24 at the Ravine. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Dodgers Postcast is brought to you by Liquid IV. I was at Costco again today and didn't actually buy anything 2 days in a row. It's kind of weird going into Costco to just look around and not buy stuff because it's kind of hard to get out, but it was weird. One of the things that's bizarre about Costco is how frequently they move stuff around. Yesterday, I mentioned I was at Costco and I walked in and Liquid IV was right by the front door. Today, when I walked in, it wasn't. They had moved it down the aisle as you come in and hang a right into one of the big racks there. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but nonetheless, it was quite the bargain. So when you're taking in America's pastime, don't forget to hydrate with Liquid IV and their new popsicle firecracker flavor, a surefire summer hit. Get hydrated with electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients from the #1 powdered hydration brand in America, because baseball and summer go together like Liquid IV and indulgent hydration. Tear, pour, live more. One stick plus 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. If you're out for a day of golf and the temperature is in the mid to high 90s, you're going to need some Liquid IV, powered by Live Hydroscience, an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration. 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, always non-GMO, vegan, and gluten-free. No more thirsty summers when you indulge in hydration like Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use the code MLB at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today with MLB at liquidiv.com. Tonight's episode also brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Game Time, is one of my favorite apps when it comes to getting tickets at a bargain. They have a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Game Time's 50% off Labor Day offer for Diamondbacks Dodgers. Make sure you go to the Game Time app and check out the Diamondbacks Dodgers series. As I mentioned yesterday, tickets for tonight's Dodgers O's game were right around $40. So they have some super deals, and definitely you can save money another way by waiting right up until game time. If you wait up till like an hour before game time, you can save upwards of 60%. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. You can see views from your seat, and you'll know that you're getting the lowest price guaranteed. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. All right, Dodgers post 4 in the 4th and hold on for a 6-3 win. That put them up 5-0, but then Bobby Miller gave up that 3-run home run, which made it a 5-3 game, which I thought was, fairly comfortable still, even though Daniel Hudson was struggling a little bit. The fact was they were fairly dominant, Bobby Miller included. He only had 3 Ks on the day, curveball, changeup to get those Ks. And the home run was a pretty decent pitch. Came on a 3-1 count. It was a fastball that was middle down. It wasn't right down Broadway. I mean, it had a little bit of action on it. Thought it was a pretty good pitch. The problem was he had walked a guy and hit a guy to put 2 runners on that ended up coming back to haunt him there. other than that, 2 hits. You can't really complain too much about that. As for the 6, 7, 8, and 9 hitters for the Dodgers, 2, 4, 6, 7 hits from those guys. Chris Taylor with 2, which included a run and an RBI. Gavin Lux with 2 hits and a run. His first hit in 7 or 8 days. I think his last hit was last Wednesday. So it was nice to see him getting things back on track again. I love it when Gavin Lux hits balls as a left-handed hitter down the left field line. And he did that today really well. It was a nice piece of hitting there to throw his hands at the ball, keep his front side in, and go get it and drive it down the line. It landed fair by under a foot. So that was a fantastic hit from Gavin Lux. And then Austin Barnes, the quote 4-foot double, finished with 2 hits, 2 runs, and 2 RBIs, including a stolen bases. The Dodgers have stolen 6 bases in the last 2 games. So they're definitely enjoying the running, and they put up 6 runs in spite of stranding 9 runners. So it was a game where they were hitting the cover off the ball, to be sure. Here is tonight's Diamond Dogs list for number 5. It's a rather lengthy list tonight because, again, they had 14 hits in this game. Mookie Betts single in the first, right up the middle on a fastball. Nice piece of hitting there. It's always comforting to see one of the top 3 guys get on base in the first inning. As I mentioned, Shohei was 0 for. I'm not going out of my way to mention that Shohei Ohtani was 0 for 5. He did plenty in this series and on this homestand. So even though he played, he deserved a night off, I guess. For number 4, Kike, a leadoff double in the second to left field. He is in the middle of a 5-game hitting streak, so that's good to see. Chris Taylor, his first hit of the night, it was an RBI single in the second. Pulled it to left. You know, that big, long, swoopy swing that he has made it 1-0. It'd be nice to see him shorten that swing up just a little bit, but I don't know that it's in his DNA to do that. He's figured out that this swing works, and he's going to stick with it. Ride or die with this swing for Chris Taylor. For number 2, another Chris Taylor hit, a leadoff single in the fourth. It was a jam shot, so he got his hands through the ball real nice, hit it off the label to right field for his second hit of the day. For number 1A, a Gavin Lux double, as I just mentioned, down the left field line, his first hit in over a week. For number 1B, Austin Barnes, 2 RBI single in the fourth. A chopper, actually it was a double. Chopper over the third baseman's head. He got a nice little bounce there on the chopper. Get me out of this chopper. Can't say the word chopper without thinking about Arnold Schwarzenegger. And then for 1C, Mookie Betts RBI single in the fourth. Consecutive games with RBIs for Mookie. That made it 4-0. So offense aplenty for the Dodgers tonight. As far as the defense, I thought they played a solid game. Not a lot of mistakes, no errors, nothing that, really had you going, oh, that was ugly. What happened there? So I think that's really the goal, is to have a defensive performance where there's nothing to write down. There's nothing to say that could have been better. I feel like we're losing a step with Kike Hernandez at first base, but Freddie Freeman's injured, and I don't know who else you're going to throw over there. Muncy can play there, but they started a lefty tonight. So I feel like Kike, for whatever reason, first base it's not easy, but it's definitely easier than the hot corner. And Kike plays third base really, really well. He is a solid third baseman. For whatever reason, he feels a little awkward to me, a former first baseman, at first base. But, he gets the job done, and he's offensively very productive. Although in the third, he left 2 runners on base, Cade looking on a pitch that to me was too close to be looking at. But ultimately, had a hit and a run scored, struck out twice in the game. So at least he got on base there. As for those injury updates, here's the latest on Glass now. Evidently, he was throwing recently, yesterday, the day before, and did not feel good afterwards. So they're going to give him some extra rest and then let him throw some more catch. So the rehab stint is still a ways down the road. I'm assuming that they're probably targeting the final 2 weeks of the season so he can get in there and at least have at least one start, hopefully 2 starts before they head into the playoffs. Flaherty, they're also giving him an extra day after taking that line drive off of his wrist yesterday. He stayed in the game after the line drive hit him in the wrist, but evidently some pain this morning, rightfully so. That makes sense. So they're going to give him a little extra rest. Probably will miss his next start, but they might move it back as well and run Robo out there or something like that. And then there's an update on Gratterall. He had a bullpen session that went pretty well. For those of you that forgot about the Gratterall thing, he's been on the IL for the majority of the season, came back through 8 pitches and pulled his hammy. And it looked like he got shot from a sniper in the upper deck. He couldn't even walk off the field. It was so bad, which was strange. I pulled my hammy before, maybe not to that degree. And I've never been a professional athlete, so I'm assuming that they have special hamstrings that are different than us, regular people. But that was a bizarre injury. The fact that he looked like the pain was overwhelming. So the fact that he is almost back is nice to see. Maybe that marks the end of Daniel Hudson if Gratterall comes back, because I look up and down and Daniel Hudson really appears to be the only sore thumb at this point in that bullpen. As far as the rest of the guys, they're out there taking care of business and throwing up zeros across the board. So Gratterall will have a bullpen session here coming up, and then will be sent probably to AAA for a rehab start. Maybe they send him to Rancho Cucamonga to the single-A team there to get that rehab start in. So that's the update on the pitching issues and injuries and so forth. Dodgers with a 6-3 win for their 80th win of the season versus 54 losses. Now 4 games up in the West on the Diamondbacks and 5 games up on the Padres. I can't even believe that Oral and Joe mentioned this, but they did more than once during the game regarding the series in Arizona against the Diamondbacks. And I'm like, how dare you even bring that up? I'll tell you what it is next. It's the Locked On Dodgers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. The place to hang out when every game is done. I come on and break it down for you. You can also listen wherever you find your podcasts on the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. That's where you find Jeff and Vince doing the Locked On Daily Dodgers podcast. They're your first listen for you everydayers, and then I'm here right after the game as your second listen, and we appreciate you allowing us to be your source for your team every day. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Dodgers postcast brought to you by PrizePicks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. I am one of those, and I haven't run a projection out there in a while. I was really thinking about it tonight with the U.S. Open. As you know, I'm a tennis fan as well, so I was watching the Dodger game and the U.S. Open. Carlos Alcaraz was playing the Dutchman Botic van der Schoop, and Botic hasn't won back-to-back matches in this whole year. It was the second round, and Carlos Alcaraz is the favorite to win the U.S. Open. He was the 3 seed, but was the favorite to win. I'm saying was because Van der Zandschloop beat him in straight sets. Huge upset, massive. I would have been all over Alcaraz to win that match comfortably. And I would have been way wrong. So the fact that I was lazy and forgot to put my projection in is like winning. When you forget to make the projection, it's like winning. Now, here's something you don't want to miss out on. 2 things real quick. Caleb Williams passing yard. If he gets 1 yard through the entire month of September, it's a free win for you, because all you got to do is pair Caleb Williams with any other projection, and one of those, because you have to assume he's going to get at least 1 yard per game, you get an automatic free win through the month of September. All 4 weeks, free W's. Don't miss out on that deal from PrizePicks, because it's gone when September ends, and as the regular season is right around the corner, You want to get your season stat projections in on PrizePicks, like will Patrick Mahomes throw for more or less than 4,300 yards, or will CJ Stroud's sophomore season result in more or less than 4,150 yards? So get those season-long projections in. Download the PrizePicks app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB and get $50 off instantly when you play a $5 bet. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. All right, Dodgers a 6-3 win. Take the series and a really, really nice homestand. They've won 8 of their last 10 on their way to Arizona, face the Diamondbacks. And Joe and Oral are saying if the Dodgers win tonight, they can go into Arizona and get swept and still be in first place. Like, how dare you even bring that up? How about the Dodgers are going to go into Arizona and sweep the Diamondbacks? How about some positivity instead of this negative speaking it into existence broadcaster's jinx? I was like, come on. I mean, I guess it is a comforting feeling, but I think anybody that pays attention can do that math. You don't need to say it. Hush. Don't even bring it up. By the way, Locked On Dodgers podcast, Jeff flying solo tonight, and they'll be on live right here in about 4 to 5 minutes. So make sure you check out Jeff doing the Locked On Dodgers podcast solo. What else do we have tonight? I really think that's about it. The starting pitching looks good. I thought Bobby Miller had good control tonight. The curveball was better than average, a plus pitch for him. The fastball is hitting corners, hitting spots. It just felt like he had a different sort of comfort level tonight than he has the last few times out. But again, he's way more comfortable at Chavez Ravine, Dodger Stadium, than he is out on the road. So I don't exactly remember if he started. Where was his last start? Let's look that up real quick. Because maybe you just don't pitch Bobby Miller on the road. I know he's got, you got to keep him in the rotation. So, the last outing was against Tampa Bay. That was a win for the Dodgers. He went 6, gave up 3 runs on 7 hits. So yeah, he gave up 2 home runs in that game, but I'm pretty sure we talked a lot about the fact that after that game, because he had 9 Ks, it was a very, very large step in the right direction from a dominant standpoint, from a control standpoint, from a confidence standpoint. So Bobby Miller, back-to-back solid starts, very good outings for him in back-to-back games. So that's good. But again, both of those were at Dodger Stadium. The 2 prior in St. Louis, 4 2/3, and in Philadelphia, 4 innings. Gave up 8 runs against the Cards, or 8 hits rather, 4 runs. And back in July 9th, so he was out there for a little while with that. I think it was a back issue or something. That start against Philly was abominable. He gave up 9 runs on 10 hits, only lasting 4 innings. That one was when we were all throwing up our hands going, well, this is awful, and I don't know if we can ever trust Bobby Miller to start again, but he's found it, so that's good news. Let's hope he keeps it going like Walker Buehler. I mean, lots of positive signs in this series. Walker Buehler having a good outing, Bobby Miller having a good outing, the bullpen continuing to dominate, the closer coming in to close it down, primarily Kopech. But nice to see Evan Williams get out there and slam the door as well in a 6-3 win for the Dodgers. Again, their 80th of the season. Off to Arizona tomorrow. Clayton Kershaw will get the start. First pitch there at Chase Field in Phoenix under the roof will be at 6:40, and I'll be right here to talk about it with you right after as we get our Labor Day weekend started. We appreciate you jumping in the chat and watching and listening wherever you find your podcast. It's the Locked On Dodgers postcast. Come on right after the game and break it down on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel And thanks for listening wherever you find your podcasts on the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. Jeff just pointed out to me that I called Evan Phillips Evan Williams again. And no, for those of you wondering if I had Evan Williams before the game, I did not. A bunch of water. I've been drinking water all day because my throat's been a little sore. Sometimes whiskey does help with that. So maybe I'll have an Evan Williams to celebrate Evan Phillips' save here right after we're done. I'm to be completely honest with you guys, including Jeff, every time I call him Evan Phillips, I'm surprised that I remember it and say it correctly. So Evan Phillips gets the save today in a 6-3 win for the Dodgers, who take 2 of 3 from the Baltimore Orioles. Enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy the start of your Labor Day weekend tomorrow. And we will talk right after the Dodgers take on the Diamondbacks, the first of 4 tomorrow in Arizona. Have a good night. We'll talk to you tomorrow.